Braves. They have now won 5 in a row. They'll lead it off with Marquise Grissom. Mark Lemke at second base will bat second. Chipper Jones will hit third. In the cleanup spot, it's Fred McGriff. David Justice to follow in the fifth spot. Ryan Klesko is in left field and hitting sixth. Catching today for the Braves, it's going to be Charlie O'Brien. Hitting in the eighth spot, Jeff Blauser should be able to play in a couple of days. That little finger on his glove hand, not as bad as first believed. Belliard will play shortstop, bat eighth. And completing the batting order for the Braves, right-hander Greg Maddux. Defensively, the Cubs will line them up like this. In left field, it's going to be not Todd Zeile. It's going to be Gonzalez. McRae will be in center. Sosa will be in right. Zeile will be playing, but he'll be at third. Dunston at short. Sanchez at second. Mark Grace will play first base. Catching is Scott Service, and on the mound making his 23rd start of the year, a right-hander, Steve Traxel. And the umpires for this game, game 2 of the series, Ed Montague will call the balls and strikes. He's a good one. Mark Barron at first, Charlie Williams down at second, and Greg Bonet will be over at third. There's a look at Traxel starting his warm-up tosses. Right-hander, a very deliberate worker, so, you know, if you got early dinner plans, you might want to back him up a little bit. He pitches well when he throws strikes, pitches behind in the count. Traxel has allowed 17 home runs, and contrary to what most players pitch well in their own ballpark or hit well in their own park. Traxel has had trouble here at Wrigley Field in 23 starts. You can see that is not a good one-loss record, not a real good earned run average either. Beautiful day for baseball. The wind blowing in from right field. It will not help the left-handed hitters. They'll have a little difficulty getting out. It is kind of a gentle breeze, though, about 8-10 miles an hour coming off of Lake Michigan. Anything hit into the left field corner will get some assist from the wind. But all in all, a pretty passive day for Wrigley Field, which could either be the absolute worst place in the world to pitch or the best place in the world to pitch. We're talking in the open about a couple of trades made yesterday. In case you missed it, Jose Oliva is now a Cardinal. Anton French, one of the prospects of the Cardinals, now with the Braves. That's Mike Devereaux. Came from the Chicago White Sox. They were in Toronto, I think, yesterday. So Mike hustled back, and he is here. Braves did give up a good prospect, Andrew King, to get him. But believe me, folks, you are going to like Mike Devereaux. He's a good guy, a good player, and he solidifies the Braves bench. He'll get a lot of playing time. We're set to go. Game 2 of the series about ready to get underway. And once again, here's Skip.
Okay, Don, thanks very much. Marquise Grissom leads it off, hitting at .256. 9 homers, 33 RBIs. The wild card race really getting interesting right now. Colorado leads it by a half game over Houston and Philadelphia. The Cubs 2.5 out. San Diego 3.5. Montreal 5. We're underway. It's 0-1 on Grissom. The game's a couple of minutes late in getting started. Sellout crowd at Wrigley Field on a red-hot baseball day. Temperatures in the low 90s here. Grissom 1 for 5 yesterday, scored a run. Taps this one, weakly foul, 0-2. We're just underway in Chicago. And the 0-2 pitch. Low and outside. Service was set up a foot outside for that pitch. 1-2 the count. Everybody's still trying to figure out why we weren't allowed to televise yesterday, but it's too involved for me. The 1-2 pitch. Into the dirt, 2-2. We couldn't televise an afternoon game because the Baseball Network was going to televise night games. Does that make any sense? No.
No.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Ground ball to the right side. Traxel does his job. Grace leads him, 1 down. No hesitation from Traxel. He broke in a hurry and made the play at first, 1 down. He's just 24 years old, this guy, out of Oxnard, California. He's out of Cal State University, Long Beach.
Good baseball program there. Dave Snow, the coach. They always near the top of the heap in the Western Regionals in the NCAA every year.
Mark Lemke, the batter. He's been struggling a little bit lately. 9 out of his last 50. And he doesn't catch up with that. 0-1.
I still don't think he's 100%. I believe he's one of those guys, though, that will not come out of there even with nagging stuff until this thing is iced up and put away. And then you might see him take some days off. Beautiful baseball day in Chicago and at Wrigley Field, but a very sad day for the Cubs. Their longtime groundskeeper, Roger O'Connor, passed away last night of a heart attack. And our sympathies to his family. He's been here close to 30 years, hasn't he?
29 years. The 0-2 pitch, here it is. Just missed inside with a pretty good fastball. 1-2. Traxel pitched only once against us and pitched very poorly. He's 0-1 with an 18.90 earned run average coming into this game. But he's a much better pitcher than that. Did he go? He did. Lemke's out of there. 2 down. And Chipper Jones, the batter.
Here's a look at the check swing. Lemke keeps his weight back, but that's a good sinking pitch, and most of the time pitcher will get that call.
Chipper's chances for Rookie of the Year improved slightly last night because of the misfortune of Hideo Nomo. He lasted just 3 innings, 6 hits, 7 runs, and the Dodgers lost last night. But he's still got an earned run average of 2.5, and he's still 10-5. 0-1 to Jones. Chipper 1 for 5 last night, drove in his 64th run. Oh, 0-2. Traxel looks very sharp in the early going.
And if you're going to win here in Wrigley Field, you have to be able to pitch in the lower quadrant of the strike zone, down at the bottom with sinking stuff like sinking fastball, slider, or forkball. Try to get a lot of ground ball outs.
The grass here very high historically to help their infielders.
And if you notice, they very seldom ever have curveball, high fastball pitchers here. They're all guys who are sinker slider pitchers.
Yeah, they have to go out and do that. Although lately the wind, it seems to me, and I certainly know nothing about the weather, but the last couple years it seems like it blows in more than it blows out.
And if you ask the everyday players here with the Cubs, they'll tell you that it does. If you ask the pitchers, they'll say it doesn't.
Human nature. 3-2 the count. Got him. Inning over. Jones called out on strikes. 1, 2, 3, nothing doing. Bottom of the first, no score.
Sunday.
Braves came up empty. Cubs turn. Here's the batting order. McRae, Sanchez, and Grace the first 3. Sosa, Gonzalez, and Dunston. Zeal, Service, and Traxel complete the batting order. Defensively, Klesko, Grissom, and Justice in the outfield. Jones, Belliard, Lemke, and McGriff make up the infield. O'Brien behind the plate. And Greg Maddux will be teeing it up for the Braves. There's a look at Greg. What a year he is having.
Brian McRae leads it off. He's a red-hot hitter, and he takes it outside, and the bottom of the first is underway. McRae, in his last 16 games, hitting .431. He's raised his average to .302. Hits that ball hard, but foul, and evens the count. At a ball and a strike. A capacity crowd in the ballpark and a capacity crowd on the rooftops across the way as well. They got the barbecues going, a few suds being consumed. Tried to bunt his way on, came up empty. It's 1-2.
They've double-decked one of them.
In right field.
In right field. Little, there you go. And then if you pan back a little, there's the owner's box in the front row there. Guy named Walter caters it.
The 1-2. Little tapper towards second. Lemke digs it out. Easy flip, one away. So McRae is retired. Ray Sanchez the batter. He's playing with a broken bone in his hand. And as soon as the season's over, they're going to have it operated on. The Cubs are still in the playoff hunt. We mentioned it before. Bill Acree going nuts. He's got hotel rooms in about 7 different cities and charter aircraft headed in all directions. Oh, and 1. At least we know we're going somewhere. Those teams in that wild card hunt might just be going home. Most of them will be. What was wrong with that pitch?
It was a little bit high. It was above the belt.
It's a joke. A ball on the strike to count. A mask shot for O'Brien. It's 1-2.
And it may have gone off the right shoulder, too. Montague is a guy, Skip, whose strike zone will favor Traxel and Maddox. Both of them pitched down. Another look at that foul ball. See if it doesn't catch him on the shoulder as it comes out of there. Yes, it did. That part is not protected out there at the end of Charlie's shoulder.
Sharply hit on 1 hop to Belliard. Pac-Man guns him down, 2 away. And here's Mark Grace. 8th in the league in hitting, 0 for 3 yesterday. He's got 43 doubles this year.
When you look at this whole Cub lineup, a lot of extra base hits, double figures in home runs every spot but the number 2 spot, double figures in doubles all the way up and down, with the lowest one being Sosa with 13. So a lot of extra base hits.
Reggie Sanders 2nd in the league in doubles with 32. He's 11 behind, and McRae with 30 is 4th. At the knees, outside corner.
You'll see Montague make that call all day long for Maddox and for Traxel if they can hit it there. Every borderline call at the bottom of the strike zone, these 2 pitchers will get. They won't get any of them at the top.
Line drive, left field, base hit. Klesko over quickly, up with the ball. He'll hold him at first base. And here comes a red-hot hitter, Sammy Sosa. Sosa 5th in the league in homers, 2nd in the league in doubles. He has 7 home runs in his last 8 games. 91 RBIs, 27 homers on the year.
Struck out his first 2 times up yesterday, then was walked, and then a chance to do some damage late in the ballgame. The Braves gave him an intentional pass. He wasn't real happy with that yesterday.
I don't think his feelings are of any particular consequence to the Atlanta.
No, they didn't vote on it.
Ace strike at the knees, 0-1. The only thing I missed this weekend in Chicago is that air show we normally get to see.
First place I saw a stealth bomber was here.
You can't see a stealth bomber, can you? The 0-1 pitch. It's high, 1-1. Snap throw to first. Grace dives back. Two balls, 1 strike. Line into short right field. That's going to fall for a hit. Grace will wind up at third. He hit it off the end of the bat, but he hit it hard enough. First and third with 2 out. And Luis Gonzalez will have a chance to do some 2-out damage.
There's a hit on a pitcher's pitch. Down and away. I'll bet you it's not a strike. O'Brien wants it out there. Yeah, that is not a strike. That's got to be a good 2 or 3 inches off the plate. And look how low it is. But he is just committed to swing. Got some wood on it. Got a base hit. He wasn't trying to hit it there.
Luis Gonzalez hitting .265 for the year, 1 for 4 yesterday. That interrupted an 0 for 9 streak. It was one of his last 13. Steve Reich, fastball outside edge, 0-1. Boy, this place is packed. We're here again tomorrow and Monday, and then come home for a long homestay.
It's packed, and there was a great reception here for Greg Maddux when he was announced. Not always do you see a player leave a ball club, especially as a free agent, come back and get as warm a reception as he's gotten here.
There goes Sosa. He'll steal it without a play. That's his 22nd in 29 attempts. Now a base hit means 2 runs.
Gets a good jump. See, that was a walking lead, and Maddux really didn't pay that much attention to him. Left-handed hitter up there made it a little hard for O'Brien to back out and make the throw. I don't think he was going to throw to second anyway.
The 1-1 pitch. Swung, a little chopper up the middle. Belliard in, up, inning over. So the Cubs mount a threat but failed to score in the first. 2 hits, no runs, no errors, and 2 left at the end of an inning. We are scoreless in Chicago.
Atlanta Braves baseball brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers. To remind you, friends know when to say when.
September 1st, when the Braves play the Cubs at 8:05, it's Braves replica cap night. Presented by Coca-Cola and Winn-Dixie. First 35,000 fans receive a Braves replica cap. Tickets at 249-6400 or 1-800-326-4000. 0-1 the count to McGriff.
And the rest of the weekend, you can get a notebook and a lunch bag, too. Something happening every day that weekend.
0-2 to McGriff. Fred, a good day yesterday. 3 for 5, a couple of runs driven in. He scored 1.
Bobby Cox says he keeps asking him, Fred, you want a day off? And Fred keeps saying no. But he said once this thing is clinched, he's not going to give him any option. He's going to start giving some players days off.
Still 0-2. And the Braves will be in a spot they've not been in past years. They'll have a chance in September to look at some of their kids coming up through the system.
I meant to ask you before we started today, if you were a player, what do you think your preference would be, to win it early or to win it late so you're kind of on an upswing?
Listening to our pitchers talk, I would say win it early.
So
they
would
can
I.
cut back on their innings a little bit.
And get some people healthy. Let's face it, we have some guys with nagging injury. Blauser's not 100%. Lemke's not 100%. Grissom is not 100%.
Blauser's finger is really a grisly looking thing.
So you walked in and asked about it today, and he showed you the other.
Showed me the wrong hand. He's a beauty. Tell you what was interesting was eavesdropping on Jimmy Williams going over the signs with Mike Devereaux. You learn some neat stuff. Can he make the play? Yes. Good play, Sanchez. Fred didn't get a real good break out of the batter's box. 1 out.
Sanchez is a guy that can play either shortstop or second base, has terrific range, and he too is not playing 100%. I think you mentioned earlier, broken bone, throws off balance, but he has a shortstop's arm. Got a lot on that throw. He's a good ball player.
David Justice, 1 hit yesterday, left the ballpark. Home run number 19 for him. He and McGriff lead the team with that number. Chipper has 17, plus go 14.
It's impressive about David Justice, 19 home runs, 61 RBIs. All of that's coming with the fact that he missed 22 ball games.
He's had a good, solid year. In there for a strike. Traxel looks quite good.
Let me tell you what he did yesterday, too, Pete. Skip, that's unusual. Pete was telling me about it. I know the difference. Don't start. Second thought, I'm not going to tell you.
But you told Pete.
I did.
Strike to Justice. It's 0-2.
He got on the bus yesterday, and normally David's not a guy who is the cheerleader type guy. And he got on the bus and he said, hey guys, we've had an off day. Let's don't let down. Let's get going. He said, you know, there's a chance that after an off day in Chicago and having come out of Houston, we can let down. He said, let's get this off to a good start. He drove in the first run with a homer.
Fouled that one off his thumbs. It's 0-2. That was David Justice.
That's right, Tim.
Well, he's for real. There's no doubt about that. 0-2 the count. Traxel deals. Just missed the outside corner. A ball and 2 strikes.
I have a feeling there was a point that was going to be made there. They got totally lost it all.
Yeah, I think so too. We've only been working together, what, 7 years? We still don't know what our names are. That one bounced off the plate. 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. Hot shot right at Grace. He'll take it himself. 2 down. That ball was hit hard. And Ryan Klesko, the batter. 0 for 3 yesterday. Scored a run. He's at 316 on the year.
Traxel is pitching the way he has to win, down in the strike zone, and even the balls hit hard are on the ground and right at people. That's how you win Gold Gloves.
They took an error away from him yesterday. He didn't like that call, did he?
No, I didn't, because he bobbled the ball and made a throw to Turk Wendell covering the bag that was right there the same time he got to the bag. So Wendell had to find the ball, find the bag, and make the tag, and he couldn't do it.
Cleveland winning again. They lead Detroit 5-0 after 4. Jose Mesa finally blew a save last night, but they won the game anyway.
Foul tipped it into the glove of Scott Service.
Traxel is a guy you hear the term occasionally called sneaky fast. He's got a little bit of a hitch in his delivery. It's a very uncomplicated delivery, no exaggerated motion. So he throws a pitch in there, it gets on you a little quicker than you would expect.
Too far in with that one. A lot of bare flesh in the bleachers today at Wrigley Field. It's a hot one. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Trouble with Chicago is there aren't any good restaurants.
No.
Everywhere you turn. Full count. He's run it full. 3-2. Charlie O'Brien on deck.
Came inside to set up the out pitch, then missed away with it, then went to his second alternative, which was the off-speed pitch. Now he's pretty much got to come back with a fastball.
Right through there. Klesko argues, but it was right there. And Montague with the mask off as he, why does he walk with Klesko? Why doesn't he walk the other way? Well, one of life's mysteries. We go to the bottom of the second, no score.
The dog days of summer here in Chicago. This telecast is authorized under broadcasting rights granted by the Atlanta National League Baseball Club and is intended solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, retransmission of the pictures or descriptions of this game without the express written consent of the Atlanta National League Baseball Club is prohibited.
Sean Dunston leads off the bottom of the second and follows it back. Dunston has been struggling a little bit. He's still 9th in the league in hitting, but he's just 10 of his last 61. Still a .313 average. Out of play again, 0-2. He's still got a 4-game suspension to serve somewhere along the line, but he's appealed it.
He walks once every 51 at bats. So he's the kind of guy Maddox knows he's going to swing at it so he can throw it near the strike zone but not in the strike zone.
Broken bat pop. Chipper Jones is there, 1 down.
I think that ties a National League record with former Brave Warren Spahn, 15-0. One more. The Major League record is 6. Who owns that, Hal? 3 guys are tied for that? Well, sometime before he wins his 16th, we'll tell you who it is, but 15-0. That's pretty impressive consecutive streak on the road.
Steve Reich right in there. Todd Zeile has not had a real good year. He was 2 for 4 yesterday. 255, 13 homers, 48 RBIs. Cal McLish, Denny McLain, Dick Dodson have that record. You had 14?
Yeah, I didn't know it till Hal told me on the plane the other night. I don't know where I was.
Probably talking to Pete.
No, he was playing short.
And Scott Service is the batter. He's been a red-hot hitter. 2 out of 4 yesterday. He's got 11 homers, 30 RBIs. He's been a much better hitter as a Cub than he was over at Houston. Braves come home on Tuesday night. Houston, then the Cubs, then the Cardinals. Then we go to Florida, Colorado, and Cincinnati. Then the Mets and Expos come to town, and that's it as far as the home season is concerned. The Braves ended on the road, and then, at least at this point in time, have no idea where they go after the game Sunday, the final game of the year in New York.
And I have a feeling won't know till that final weekend.
Looks that way. Whoops, boy, you don't see that happen every day. That's a shocker.
Let's see if that hits him around the face. It had overspin, then takes a tricky bounce off the glove, off the heel of the glove, and then off the left side of Ruffy's face. But the overspin is what did it. That second hop carried it a couple of inches further than he thought it was going to. He's still trying to figure out if he's going to be having soup for dinner tonight.
Fast strike, 0-1 to Traxler's third error in the last 3 years.
Yeah, once a year you got to make
get it
one.
over with.
Yeah.
Next August in Pittsburgh, you'll probably make another. Swinging bunt foul down the third base line. 0-2 the count. Traxler, a .225 hitter. He's got a couple of runs driven home. Didn't miss by much, but Missy did. 1-2 the count. So hazy here, you can barely see the lake. Ground ball to first. McGriff fumbles, picks it up. He'll take it himself. And the inning is over. The air does no harm. No hits, no runs. An error, a runner left at the end of 2. No score.
People love.
No score, top of the third. Looking at John Sherholz. By the way, we will have game 3 of the series tomorrow, 2:15 Eastern Daylight Time, and in the final game of the series Monday, mark down this time 2:05, and we're going to have a pregame show. John Sherholz will be one of the persons on there, and I think that Joe is going to ask him about the way the playoff is kind of shake down, where everybody will go and all that, and I'm going to have a nice visit with Mark Wohlers.
Tell you what, if John explains all the facets of what could happen in these playoffs, we'll get to the game in about the bottom of the 7th.
He's going to use clip notes. Remember those little?
Yeah, very well. Charlie O'Brien leads off the third. Don Sutton and with you from Chicago. I can't think of my name. O'Brien is hitting .267, 8 homers, 21 runs driven in. Happens to me a lot in this town.
Traxel goes to work. 0-1 the count. He's working at a good clip today. When he gets runners on base, though, it's agonizing. Curveball low and away, evens the count. Cleveland now 5-2 over Detroit as the Tribe bats in the bottom of the 5th. High fly ball. He got around way too early and hit it well foul. 1-2 the count. So Sherholtz and Wohlers on the pregame show Monday. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
No pregame show tomorrow. Huh?
Nah, just the starting lineups.
I sure hope they put that graphic up with our names. 1-2 to O'Brien.
We could rehearse the night if you wanted to.
Okay. High, lazy fly, short center. McRae battles the sun. He's okay. 1 out. 7 in a row knocked off by Traxel and Rafael Belliard, the batter. Well, the wind is now blowing toward left field.
Nope.
You don't think so?
Nope.
Where did his triple go yesterday?
Down the right field line, diving try by Sosa.
I thought maybe he hit one off the top of the wall again.
No, he hit about his normal depth. It's just that Sosa dove for it and missed it.
1,606 at bats since he last homered. He's due.
Dinner's on me if he does.
I ain't going to the Golden Arches in Chicago. A ball and a strike. That swing's not going to get it done. 1-2. Part-time Atlanta resident Elton John out here yesterday. He's a big Braves fan.
Yes, he is. Hey, funny exchange. Funny exchange.
The 1-2 pitch. A little tapper back to the mound. That should be easy. And is 2 down.
One of the few times I've ever seen Bobby Cox taken aback, but Elton John is definitely a fan, and he watches us and knows a lot about what's going on. He walks up to Bobby down by the batting cage yesterday and says, the limmer was doing real well in that number 2 spot, wasn't he?
Yeah, he knows his baseball.
Yes, he does.
Here's Greg Maddux hitting at 130. Well, actually, he's hitting at 5-2, but his average is 150. The 1-0 pitch. Lined hard, but foul. Into the seats down the left side. Eight in a row knocked off by Traxel. Up and in. The 2-1 pitch. Here it is. On the outside corner. Maddux didn't think too much of that.
But he won't argue long because he wants the same call. He'll just give him a look.
And the 2-2 is forthcoming. That might have prevented strike 3 on that call. Just that look. 3 balls, 2 strikes. That'll reach the seats. And the fans battle for the souvenir. Chop toward left field. There's the first hit of the day. Maddox singles to left. He's aboard with 2 out for Marquise Grissom, who grounded to first his first time. And now the Mutual Admiration Society at first base. Mark Grace raves about Maddox, and Maddox raves about Mark Grace.
Mark Grace has asked him, how do you do that? Normally, if you're a hitter, you take a pitch inside, you try to pull it. You take a pitch outside, you try to guide it. If you're a pitcher, you just try to hit it and hope it finds a hole.
Maddox with a 1-step lead. Upstairs to Grissom. 1 ball, no strikes. No score. We are in the 3rd inning. Don Sutton, Skip Carey with you from Wrigley Field. One and one.
With that lead, there are 2 things you can bet will not happen. Number 1, he won't get picked off, and number 2, he will not steal second.
It's analysis like that puts you at the top of your craft.
Thank you, Friar Tuck.
It's okay, Jerry. The pitch. 2-1 the count. Traxel finally ready. 3-1, and trouble is looming here in the 3rd with 2 out.
Traxel's the guy who pitches down and away with a lot of breaking balls. I frankly wonder why they're holding Maddox on in the first place.
Good point. He's not going anywhere.
Nope, and it opens up a hole for a guy to take a shot that way with all the tight pitches he's going to get to hit.
Grissom thought that was ball 4. He's not happy at all with the call by Ed Montague.
It's the same pitch he's been calling the whole time. It's probably outside a little, but he consistently hits it. So does Maddox. The catcher catches it smoothly. It's in the neighborhood, and it's a strike.
Runner goes. That's ball 4. So 2 are on with 2 out. The hit by the pitcher may be the start of something good. Here's Mark Lemke, who struck out his first time. And a meeting on the mound. Grace and Service joined Traxel out there. See, Grace is on the line. Didn't he sign a 1-year contract extension with them? And he has had a great year.
He will not have any trouble finding work. Excellent defensive player, very intelligent, good guy on a ball club. Hits for average, a lot of line drive hitter, a lot of doubles.
And this year's driven in some runs. 76 of them. That's the spirit. The pitch to Lemke is high. 1 ball, no strikes. They play very shallow and around toward left. If Mark hits one into right center, 2 runs might score. 2 runs probably would score with Grissom running. High and away. Suddenly he can't throw a strike. 2 balls, no strikes. Tomorrow, Tom Glavine against Jim Bollinger. And on Monday, Steve Avery against Jamie Navarro. So Kent Merker will open at home against Houston on Tuesday night. Well hit to right field. Back goes Sosa, still going. It is up against the wall, bouncing away. 2 runs will score. Lemke races for 3rd. Here's the relay. He is in there with a triple. And he just about hit that baby out of here. Without the wind, he might have gotten it out. All this with 2 out and the pitcher hitting. 2-0 Atlanta.
Lemke has power if you get something up in the strike zone. Look at that, was up middle. He extended his arms on it, and if that ball part of the park that there doesn't curve back in there, there's a little alcove in there. If that doesn't curve, that is out of here. But you look at everything that's happened to Traxel, it's happened because he's gotten behind in the count. After setting down 8 in a row, behind the Maddox, behind the Grissom, and now behind the Lemke.
Chipper had a word with Jimmy Williams. I wonder if he's going to push one down the third baseline. Might have been saying, just let him know I'm going to try to bunt my way on. Let's see. No. 1 ball, no strikes. And he's behind again. He set down the first 8 like there was nothing to it.
Elton John was right. The limber likes the 2 spot.
He had a concert last night. Where at the Horizon here, the new Horizon Center.
I think a large group of the guys, including John Sherholtz, went out there.
Ferguson Jenkins on his way out, the fine pitching coach and Hall of Famer.
One of the things he's going to tell him, since Ferguson Jenkins had so much success in this park, is you have to throw strikes and you have to pitch down in the strike zone. That's what he was doing for the first 8 hitters. And talking about Ferguson Jenkins, Skip, I think one of the most underappreciated accomplishments by a pitcher in baseball is the performance that he put on right here in this ballpark. I think he had 6 or 7 years with 20 or more wins, and this is definitely not pitcher friendly. But the job he did here was a remarkable one.
And he never let it bother him.
Nope.
That's the secret, I think.
And that's what he brings as a pitching coach to this ball club, that you can be successful here. Here's how you do it.
2-0 the count to Chipper. Started to swing, tried to stop, and did. It's 3-0.
He got 2 quick runs. Nothing hurt here by giving him the green light. Because we've seen that Traxel behind likes to throw it up in the strike zone.
He had the hit privilege quite obviously, but chose to take it.
And that's smart. If you're given the hit privilege 3-0, it doesn't mean you have to swing at it. It means you should pick yourself out a tiny little strike zone that you want it in, and if it's not there, don't swing at it, even if it is a strike.
Full count now, 3-2. Jenkins had 6 straight 20-win seasons with the Cubs. Don, you're right. He had 3,192 strikeouts in his career. 284 wins, not too shabby. He missed with a 3-2 pitch. Here's McGriff, and the inning will not end for Steve Traxel.
And one of the things that Ferguson Jenkins always believed and is trying to teach here is that you cannot walk people and be successful in a hitter-friendly park.
McGriff grounded to second his first time. Almost hit him. 1 ball, no strikes. Two nothing Atlanta. All this started, you never know. 8 in a row knocked off, 2 out in the inning. The pitcher hitting came in hitting at 130. And now it's 2-0. They're on the corners with 2 out. And there's an absolutely meaningless throw to first base.
Habit.
But when you do that, you're risking throwing one into the bullpen and another run scoring. Started to go, held up.
See, he was getting strikes on those earlier in the ball game, and then he could throw it that same kind of pitch. If he throws strike 1 down about knee high, then he throws that one. Most hitters are going to chase it. There's no reason to swing at it if it's a hitter's count.
Boy, they give Fred the whole left field line, and he hits the ball down that way every now and then. 3-0, and I bet he has the hit privilege too.
And Riggleman is not going to waste much time with Traxel because they believe they are definitely, and they are, in that wild card race. He's going to manage this like the last week or so of the season.
Got nothing to lose. But no bullpen action yet. See if he's swinging. 3-0. Yes, base hit, run in. Jones is coming over to third, and he'll make it without a play. The 3-0 pitch results in yet another run.
3-2 to Maddox, a walk to Grissom, behind in the count to Lemke, a walk to Jones, and 3-0 to McGriff. This is a good pitch, but McGriff didn't try to pull it. Just wanted to put it in play. You mentioned all the room he had to that side. A lot of guys would have tried to yank that into right field, but he didn't. He just made sure that he hit it a base hit somewhere.
Turk Wendell is up again in the bullpen for the Cubs. He worked here yesterday. Here's Justice, grounded to first, his first time. 2 out, nobody on, and now 5 straight base runners. And 3 runs make it 4 runs. McGriff will stop at second. Sosa's got a good arm. Justice didn't hit it hard, just hard enough.
And most pitchers would probably lament, well, he didn't hit it hard, he hit a good pitch right there, and that's the one they will remember, and not the single by the pitcher and the 2 walks. That is a good pitch. Justice went down and dug one out and just looped it into right field, but that's not the damaging hitter. He is not the damaging hitter in this inning. Damage has already been done. He's just enhancing it.
See if Riggleman makes a move. Apparently not. He's going to stay with him for at least one more hitter, and that hitter is Ryan Klesko, who was called out on strikes his first time, and he is the 9th man to bat in this inning. 4 runs are in. All this with 2 out, nobody on, and the pitcher hitting. I don't think we can emphasize that enough. That's in there, 0-1. Their last 4 games, the Braves 11 out of 24 with 2 out and men in scoring position. Oh, what a cut. But he was late. He's in the hole 0-2. Charlie O'Brien would be next. 4 runs are in. Fastball away, a ball and 2 strikes. They play Klesko straight away in the outfield. Inside, 2-2. A nightmare inning for the Cubs pitcher.
He's got that very same pitch right there called for strikes a lot early in the ball game, but when you're not throwing strikes, you're not going to get a call.
The 2-2, runners lead. Here we go. Swung, grounded up the middle, headed for center field, base hit. Here comes McGriff. Justice races for third. He'll make it without a play. And the hits just keep on coming. 5 hits, 5 runs, all with 2 out. Amazing. Here's Charlie O'Brien.
Good pitch, down and away. Klesko just beat it into the ground, found a spot. They were playing him to pull. Up the middle was wide open. And frankly, Jim Riggleman waited a little bit longer than I thought he would.
That's amazing. 2 out, nobody on. 5 hits, 2 walks, 5 runs, still 2 runners on. And Turk Wendell, with all his antics, comes on to pitch. And we'll be back right after this. Turk Wendell on the pitch. Ryan Klesko has left the game and headed into the clubhouse. I don't have any idea what happened to him, but we'll get an early look at Mike Devereaux. He's going to check in and play left field. Looks like maybe his lower back is bothering him. That's just a guess from him reaching back there. Frankly, I didn't see what happened. So that's not good news. Devereaux enters the game as a pinch runner, and he'll stay in the game to play left field. Oh, and 1 to O'Brien. Yesterday, Wendell went an inning, struck out one, allowed a base runner on an error. A little bit low, evens it up. Wendell's a guy that brushes his teeth between innings and jumps over the foul lines, and all that stuff's great as long as you get him out.
Chews licorice. He used to stand out on the mound, and if the catcher stood, he would squat. And if the catcher, then when the catcher squatted down, he would stand because he thought it was bad luck to have him on the same level. In the minor leagues, he also would come out, warm up, and turn and face center field, and he wouldn't throw until the center fielder told him it was okay.
His elevator does not necessarily stop on each floor. High, lazy pop, short left. Dunston going out. Gonzalez coming in. Gonzalez calls him off. Makes the catch, and the inning comes to a close, but a very profitable one for Atlanta. 5 runs on 5 hits, no errors, 2 left. We go to the bottom half of the 3rd inning. Suddenly, it's a 5-0 Atlanta game. Five, 5-1 for the Braves. 0-2-0 for the Cubs. And Mike Devereaux checks into the game to play left field for Atlanta. Top of the order in the bottom of the 3rd. McRae lines one to left, and Devereaux makes the catch and almost falls down in his first Atlanta appearance. That ball was hit hard, had him played perfectly, one away.
Greg Maddux said, I just wanted to see if you were ready. Makes a nice pitch. Here's Devereaux. That ball sinking away from him.
That's not an easy catch to start your career. I wonder if this guy knew something. He's building a new home, already in the process of building a new home in Atlanta. So he's got to be delighted by the trade.
Oh, I talked to him earlier. He's a former teammate of mine from L.A. days.
2 pitches. 2 out.
And he had decided to move to Atlanta and is building up on the north side. Said they're just now breaking ground on it. So he was very excited about it. And how about Bill Acree? Don't you think he loved it?
Yeah, the guy has an apartment here and a home already underway in Atlanta. Here's Mark Grace. He singled his first time. Life appears to be pretty good when you got Greg Maddux on the mound and a 5-run lead early. As pictured there. Lonnie Dale, our director today, and Glenn Diamond, our producer, doing their normal brilliant job. Check swing, strike 1 and 2. Lonnie wearing an $800 suit.
I know where this is going.
And Glenn Diamond is our producer. Ground ball deep short. Pac-Man and McGriff climbed the ladder, and that's just the kind of inning you want after you've had a big inning of your own. 1, 2, 3, nothing doing at the end of 3. 5-0 Atlanta.
Sorry, this trip has to be right.
We go to the 4th inning here with a play-by-play story. Don Sutton.
All right, Skip Belliard to lead it off. He grounded back to the pitcher his first time up. That pitcher was Steve Traxel. Turk Wendell now on. Traxel 2 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 5 runs, all of them earned, a couple of walks and 3 strikeouts. Out of play, and Belliard in a hole 0-2.
He just missed that one.
Hitting it fair.
No, he had a good hack.
Braves sent 10 men to the plate last inning. Came away with 5 runs. There goes Belliard. 1 out here in the 4th inning.
And it's time for our Aflac trivia question. It's a good one today. Who was the last Cubs pitcher to lead the majors in wins in a season? I guessed Ferguson Jenkins, and as is so often the case, I was wrong. Then I guessed Rick Russell, and I was wrong again.
And I threw in Sutcliffe and Pappas and joined you in being wrong. Here's Maddux. He started that rally last inning after 2 were out. Took a 3-2 pitch, single to left field. Grissom followed with a walk. Lemke tripled, and then the floodgates just opened up. 1-1 to Maddox. Maddox, like so many of the Braves pitchers, good athlete, pretty good hitter. Chokes up on the bat a little. Perfect pitch, and it's 0-2.
I'll give you a hint. I would have never got. I just looked it up. I would have never gotten it. He pitched for a few years with the Cardinals.
Bill Hand. It's strike 3. 2 strikeouts at the inning for Turk Wendell. We'll go to the top of the batting order, Marquise Grissom. It'll take a little extra time so Maddox can make his way back over to the Braves dugout. The word on Ryan Klesko was back spasms, and as almost always with an injury, he is
Day to day.
yes.
You're making all my dreams come true. Oh, that's day by day.
Grissom takes ball 1 inside. He grounded to first his first time up, walked and scored. That's a foul ball. 1-1. Grissom, one of the first to greet Mike Devereaux this morning. They're old friends. Outside, 2-1. Interesting exchange between Dwight Smith and Mike Devereaux. Apparently they have followed each other, maybe not to the same teams, but similarly in cities. So Dwight said, I should have known it was just going to be a matter of time till you were here with me. 3 balls and a strike to Marquise Grissom. Here's ball 4. Third walk issued by the Cubs, and the second time Grissom has drawn one. First one issued by Turk Wendell. And Mark Lemke is the hitter. They weren't playing Mark real deep last inning when he got a pitch up in the strike zone and hit it over Sosa's head. He came within a foot or so of hitting it out of here. They still shade him to the left field side. There's ball 1 outside. One ball, no strikes. 5 runs, 5 hits for the Braves. No runs on 2 hits for the Cubbies. There's a strike. 1-1.
Well, when are the Braves going to clinch the division, you think? Magic number's what, 21 today?
I think so. Okay. That's outside, and it's 2-1.
In either Florida or Colorado, I bet.
I'm saying Colorado or Cincinnati.
Pretty negative. You think we're not going to play very well?
I don't think it's very negative. There's ball 3 to Lemke. I know what you want. You want him to clinch it when you're finishing on radio.
Yeah.
3 balls and 1 strike to Mark Lemke. See if Grissom is on the move. He's going. Here's a strike. Throw to second. Good throw, good play. Scott Service, a perfect throw right on the money. Grissom is out of there, and the Braves come up empty in the 4th inning. We move to the bottom of the 4th. It's the Braves 5. The Cubs yet to score. Bottom of the 4th inning, Braves up by 5. Maddox working on a 2-hitter. Sosa, Gonzalez, and Dunston. First 3 due up. All the Braves runs coming in the top of the 3rd inning. Out of play, 0-1. Sosa, first time up, single. Ended up stealing second and left standing there. Cubs got a couple of base hits out of Grayson Sosa with 2 outs, but Maddox got Gonzalez to end the 1st inning. That's outside. 1-1. Off the fist, up the chimney. Who wants it? Chipper Jones says he'll take it and gets it.
And now it's time for our Aflac trivia question again, followed closely by our Aflac trivia answer. Larry Jackson, 24, back in 1964. I would have guessed all day.
I forgot he even played here.
Yeah, you think about him in St. Louis.
One gone for Gonzalez. He grounded to short his first time up.
Well, that's stunning that Hal would stump us.
Ball one to the left fielder. It would appear that the Cubs may have gotten the best of the trade with the Astros that brought Gonzalez in service here. Rick Wilkins has been injured. This guy's a good left fielder and a good hitter, and service, as you mentioned earlier, has really improved here. Both of them give a lot of credit to Billy Williams. Out of play, 2-1.
Boy, look how Devereaux has Gonzalez played in left field. He is camped on the line.
Devereaux has an inside-out swing, or Gonzalez has an inside-out swing, and Maddox is going to pitch him away anyway. You were talking about the conversation with Jimmy Williams over the signs. Chance for Lemke. 2 gone. 6 in a row set down by Maddox. Jimmy Williams is also in charge of positioning the defense, and that was part 2 of that discussion. And one thing about Mike Devereaux, he will not go out in left field and just stand around out there. He has been watching Jimmy Williams, and Jimmy Williams has him in the spots that the Braves have found to be most successful.
Devereaux started in the National League, but has been a long time, and he needs some help.
Yep. Dunston, the hitter, takes strike 1. Originally with the Dodgers, got to the American League. Dodgers in 1989, the spring, traded him to Baltimore for Mike Morgan. Out of play, 0-2. Little smile on Greg Maddox's face. He knows he got away with one there. And I'll bet you if he goes on to pitch a shutout or a good ball game, he'll recall and will tell somebody he got away with a hanger in the 4th inning. That'll do it. Another 1-2-3 inning for Maddox. He sets down 7 in a row. We have completed 4 at Wrigley Field. It's the Braves 5, the Cubs nada. Top of the 5th inning, Braves up by 5. Skip Carey, Don Sutton with you. Mark Lemke, first hitter up, takes the first one back up the middle. And Lemke has his second hit of the day. You remember Lemke was hitting last inning when Marquise Grissom was thrown out at second to end the inning. Hit number 6 for the Braves. Lemke with a couple of RBIs. His RBI total up to 30 now. Lemke has 2. McGriff, Justice, and Klesko with 1 each. To left field, deep, back to the wall is Gonzalez. It's gone. Home run number 18 for Chipper Jones. 2 more RBIs. It's a 7-0 ball game.
And another big step forward in that Rookie of the Year battle for Chipper. He needs to get over the 20 homer mark, which he certainly should do. And it would be nice if he took a run at 100 RBIs. He now has 66.
If he hits that same ball to right field, it doesn't go out. But the wind blowing from right field corner to left field corner gave it a little boost and a little more breathing room for Maddox. Here's McGriff. There's a strike, 0-1. Fred is grounded to second, single, scored a run, and driven 1 home. Oh, 0-2 to McGriff. That's Anthony Young warming up. He got into the ballgame yesterday. First out of the inning. Third strikeout recorded by Turk Wendell. And David Justice, the hitter. David 1 out of 2. He's grounded to first and single. First one is low, and it's 1-0. Two balls, no strikes. A couple of games taking place in the America League. Cleveland by 4, and the Cubs by 1 over Toronto as they play in the 7th inning.
This 7-0 lead has really hurt attendance out in those apartment houses across the street. Even the owner's box is clear now.
There's a strike. I think I said it's the Cubs at Toronto. It's obviously the White Sox. Yep. The air is there. The owners are gone.
That's air with an H.
Yeah. Right. Strike 2 to Justice. If you're wondering about, Skip was telling you about thinking that Chipper Jones needed 20 home runs. If you're wondering, does he have a shot at the rookie record for home runs? Not likely. That was set by Earl Williams back in 1971, and he hit 33 out of the ballpark. Obviously, there's a chance, but Chipper would have to pick up 15 in pretty quick fashion. 3-2 to David Justice. Still alive. Still 3 balls and 2 strikes. It's going to be a similar season too. Earl Williams hit those 33 homers in 145 games back in 1971. Chipper is going to have a 144 game season.
Boy, he looked like he was going to be a Hall of Famer when he first came up, Earl Williams.
We couldn't get him out. I remember facing him. He was hitting doubles or homers with every swing. There goes Justice. Another strikeout. That's 4 strikeouts in an inning. Not quite 2 full innings for Turk Wendell. And Mike Devereaux will get his first at bat in a Braves uniform. He was putting together some good numbers for the White Sox. Doesn't get the high fastball. Up over 300, 10 homers, 55 RBIs. That's a good way to break in with a new ball club. A single to left. Hit number 8 for the Braves. Devereaux will stand at first with 2 gone.
Another look at it. A little bit off the end of the mat, but he hit it solid. He drove in 107 runs not that long ago for Baltimore. I think about 3 years ago.
20-something dingers.
Yeah.
He's at first base for Charlie O'Brien. O'Brien 0 for 2, twice flied out, once to center, once to left. Had a home run cut there, but got air. It's 0-1. Nice stop by Service. A ball and a strike to Charlie O'Brien. A little bit outside, 2-1. Charlie started out his career known basically as a defensive catcher, and not a whole lot else going on with him. but since he got to the Mets, he has jacked his batting average up, his career batting average up about 60 points. Finds himself with 2 strikes on him now. Came into this ball game. In the high 200s. Outside. That'll make it full 3-2. Devereaux will get the green light. He'll be off and going. You see Mark Grace way back. It'll be a running start for Mike Devereaux. In the air and out of play. Still 3-2. 2 perfect days for baseball here in Wrigley Field. Yesterday, a similar type day, a gentle breeze from right field, sun everywhere. Just a beautiful day. What's the last 2 supposed to be? More of the same?
Pardon me? I was visiting with Mr. Diamond.
Here goes Charlie O'Brien.
I'll never know.
Kirk Wendell strikes out the side, but gives up a 2-run homer to Chipper Jones. We're halfway home. It's 7-0 Braves.
Good afternoon, everybody. Joe Simpson along with Pete Van Wieren. You got a 7-run lead with Maddox on the mound. You got to like your chances, Mr. Van Wieren.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about this one for Atlanta.
Todd Zeile leads things off for the Cubbies in their half of the 5th inning.
And you have to feel a little helpless if you're a Chicago Cub, knowing your chances of coming back from this big a deficit against Greg Maddux just about impossible.
Wasn't it odd what happened to Steve Traxel? That's driven to deep center. Grissom on the run, flips down the shades and has it. 1 out. I mean, here's a guy for 2 innings. Braves didn't even sniff a hard hit ball.
Well, the first 8 hitters, Traxel got through him. Only 1 ball hit to the outfield. He was working ahead in the count on everybody. Appeared to be right on top of his game. And then all of a sudden began to fall behind people. And then started nibbling. And then the Braves began to hit him hard.
Yeah, started trying to aim at those spots he was hitting easily and early and couldn't hit them. Scott Service aboard on an error, a rare error by Rafael Belliard his first time up. Sends one out of play. 0-1. This guy had 1 homer for the Astros and he's hit 9 for the Cubs.
Credits Billy Williams with giving him a couple of little mechanical adjustments that have really helped him. He appears to be a little bit deeper into a crouch.
Looks like he's a little closer to the plate too. Can't stop his swing there. It's 0-2. Maddox noticed he was up on the plate and busted him inside. He's always been a solid receiver. If they can keep his average in that 250 to 275 range, they've definitely made a good deal. Again, they bust him in and he comes up empty, and Maddox has only his 2nd strikeout of the day.
One of those at bats, though, you see quite frequently against Greg Maddux. You get a strike 3, whether it's a strike 3 called or a swinging strike 3, and the hitter just stares out at him.
Yeah.
as if to say, how do you do this? How do you make it look so easy? Watch Service just look out at Greg Maddux. That's a look of respect.
That ball going down and in like it was on some kind of piano string. Pinch hitter for the Cubbies, Joe Kamak, step in. He's hitting for Wendell. Kamak at 245 on the year. He has had 1 pinch hit appearance and he's had a base hit. 1-1 the count. Braves leading at 7-0. They've won 5 in a row. Tailing fastball. 1-2. It's like Anthony Young will get the call when we go to the 6th for Chicago as he continues to throw in their bullpen. Kamak sends a 2-hopper to Lemke, who's got it, and an easy inning for Greg Maddux and the Braves. They go in order, and he has suddenly retired 10 in a row, and the Braves lead it 7-0.
The quality.
And as we go to the 6th inning, a look at today's Budweiser game summary. A big 5-run third, all of it happening after 2 are out for Atlanta after Steve Traxel had retired the first 8 he faced. But since then, it's been all Braves. Mark Lemke, a triple, a single, 2 RBIs. Chipper Jones, a home run. And a new pitcher for the Cubs, Anthony Young, as we go to the 6th inning.
Anthony Young opened the season on the disabled list. Had the Tommy John surgery performed on his elbow last August 15th. So it's been a little over a year. And today he makes his 19th appearance. And Belliard sends a drive down the left field line, but it's hooking foul into the seats. Rafael 0 for 2 today, ground out and a strikeout. Had a big triple here yesterday.
Braves have become so good at staging rallies after 2 are out. In that game yesterday, the Cubs kept coming back. It was a 4-3 ball game, close game, 8th inning, 2 outs. Boom, 3-run rally.
Todd Zeil's got a high hopper and throws out Belliard, 1 away, and that'll bring up Maddox.
Today, 3rd inning, scoreless game, 2 outs, bases empty. Boom, 5-run rally.
It's funny how the Braves react when a pitcher seems to be cruising along like Traxel was doing, Pete.
It makes one mistake.
Well, and it was a mistake to Maddox. I mean, if you want to call it that, just the fact that Greg found a hole on the left side turned his whole game around, because he walks the next guy and then Lemke triples in 2 runs and Traxel's in big trouble. And maybe those Wrigley Field gremlins jumped up and bit Traxel again. He has certainly struggled in this ballpark.
On his way to being 2-14 here at Wrigley Field.
1-1 to Maddox. In addition to his single, Greg has struck out. Good fastball, 1-2. Anthony Young, always known as a hard thrower, seems to still have some pretty good velocity, and he's earned a couple of saves this year in relief. Fastball inside, 2-2. Turk Wendell, if he had not allowed the home run to Chipper Jones, would have had a terrific outing. However, 2 1/3 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, and both earned, 1 walk, and he struck out 5. Maddox pops one up over in front of Bobby Cox. Grace comes over, and did Bobby get out of the way? Dropped right in the dugout. Who was it that got nailed from San Francisco years ago in their dugout? Came out to help some guys and keep them from running in the dugout. One of their managers, and then got nailed right on top of the cap on a pop fly.
Joe Kamak stayed in the game to catch, too, by the way. We just noticed that as that foul pop was chased.
And Anthony Young will bat in the 8th spot in the order. 3-2 now to Maddox. Payoff pitch. Popped up. This one's going to stay in play. Dunston calls for it. 2 down. Great day for baseball. Temperature in the mid-80s here at Wrigley Field. Light breeze blowing in from right.
That's a very untypical day for Wrigley. Almost every game you play here, the wind is a factor one way or another, either blowing in or blowing out, but very little wind today. Just a very light breeze.
2 walks for Marquise. He is also grounded out. That's going to be a tough play for Dunston. He's going to have to hurry, but he's got a great arm and gets him. And Anthony Young has a 1-2-3 inning for the Cubs. We go to the bottom half of the 6th inning, and Atlanta leads it 7-0.
Doctor's Cure.
The Braves coasting behind Greg Maddox right now, 7-0 as we go to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Coming up on TNT, the Coors Light Pro Football tonight, preseason special. Join Vince Cellini and Mark May on Sunday, August 27th, 8 Eastern Time on TNT.
And for the Cubbies, as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning, top of their order, Brian McRae, Ray Sanchez, and Mark Grace. Brian McRae having a terrific year. 0 for 2 today. He is grounded out and hit a rocket out to Mike Devereaux in left field. Maddox has retired 10 in a row since the error by Belliard back in the 2nd inning. 1-1 to McRae. Pops one up. Foul territory, and O'Brien catches it. An easy out for Maddox to start things here in the 6th inning. This is Maddox's 22nd start, Pete. 9 starts, he has not issued a walk. 8 others, he's only issued 1 walk, and none today.
It's just remarkable. You just wonder how much better this guy can get. He's almost at the top of any pitcher's game right now. He just seems to keep getting better and better every year.
Sanchez fights one off up the middle, but Lemke's there. 2 down. 12 in a row set down by Maddox, who's looking for his 16th straight road win.
And if he gets it, which it appears he will tie a major league record. Cal McLeish with the Indians back then. Denny McLain, his 30 victory season with the Tigers. Richard Dotson with the Chicago White Sox. Maddox currently tied with Warren Spahn and his streak with the 57 and 58 Braves of Milwaukee.
Maddox has allowed but 2 hits. They both came in the 1st inning. One by Grace, one by Sosa. I'll bet Warren Spahn enjoys watching this guy pitch.
I think anybody who's ever pitched in any form, Little League on up, enjoys watching Greg Maddox pitch.
Out of play, 1 and 2. I think you'd love watching this guy pitch from every vantage point except the batter's box. In addition to a single, Grace has bounced to short. Bounces one back to Maddox. Easy play. Another 1-2-3 inning for Greg. He is cruising, and so are the Braves. They lead at 7-0.
In reservations.
We go to the 7th. Atlanta enjoying a 7-0 lead. It'll be Lemke, Jones, and McGriff due up here for the Braves. And back to take you the rest of the way, Pete Van Wieren.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Lemke's had a good day. A strikeout, a 2-run triple, and a single. He scored 2 and driven in 2. Takes the first pitch from Anthony Young down low, ball 1. On the ground towards Sanchez. 1 gone. And here comes Chipper Jones. After striking out his first time up, Chipper walked in the 3rd, then hit a 2-run opposite field home run in the 5th. He now has 18 homers. 1 behind Fred McGriff and David Justice. Takes a strike on 1.
And as impressive as his numbers are, Pete, RBIs and power and everything, 62 walks.
1 ball, 1 strike.
That's mighty impressive for a rookie. Comes in with that good of an idea of the strike zone.
Saw those American League scores. Cleveland leading in their game. You know how they got their 6th run. There's a drive, deep right field. Back goes Sosa. Just enough room to make the catch. 2 down. As if the Cleveland Indians needed to find new ways to score with all their power. They were leading Detroit 5-2. Batting in the bottom half of the 5th inning, and Eddie Murray stole home for their 6th run. 2 gone. Here's Fred McGriff, who has grounded out to second, singled in a run, and struck out.
I'm going to suggest that there were extenuating circumstances for that to have occurred. Like the pitcher passed out on the mound, or the catcher had gone to the dugout and didn't call timeout.
0-1 to count on McGriff. 7-0 Atlanta. We're in the top half of the 7th. The 0-1 to McGriff. Caught the inside corner. 0-2. Anthony Young, of course, is best remembered for that long losing streak with the New York Mets. '27 consecutive losses. Backhanded by Grace. The underhand toss to Young. Another 1-2-3 inning. He's retired all 6 he's faced. And And we go to the bottom half of the 7th. It's 7-0 Atlanta.
This is L.A.
See dealer for details.
It's become a Wrigley Field tradition. Take me out to the ball game, led by Harry Carey as we go to the bottom half of the 7th inning. His let's get some runs, though, lacked its usual enthusiasm with Greg Maddux out there on the mound.
He knows.
Sammy Sosa has one of the 2 hits given up by Maddux. He's also popped to third. Off the end of the bat, the count 0-2.
This is the guy that Greg Maddux was talking about a few weeks ago about how you cannot set him up. You can't work him away and then bust him inside. You can't start him inside and expect him to lay off a pitch outside, because Sammy swings at everything that's close.
Now the 0-2, strike 3 call, outside corner.
Should have swung at that one.
Third strikeout for Maddux.
He compared Sosa to Mariano Duncan. He talked about how they are free swingers, hate to draw walks, and it's difficult for him, the way he works with the way he sets up hitters and as mental as he is in his approach to pitching. It's difficult for him to work to those guys.
He has retired 14 straight. Here's Luis Gonzalez, who has grounded out twice, once to short, once to second. Fouls off the first one, 0-1.
Yeah, it looks like that flu bug really took a lot out of him. Missed a start, came back through a 2-hit shutout, and
is throwing another one here. The 0-1 on the way. Inside corner, 0-2. Little chopper to the right side. Maddux will make the play himself. And that's 15 straight retired by Greg Maddux.
You think if you saw a picture from that shot behind home plate and you couldn't even see the Cubs hitter, so that you couldn't see the uniform, wouldn't you know where you were with that picture out in the bleachers?
Oh, absolutely. Very distinctive looking ballpark. Here's Sean Dunston. He has popped to third and struck out. Even if you saw the center field shot with no hitter, catcher, or umpire, that brick wall that surrounds the playing field here, a very distinctive feature of Wrigley Field. 0-1 the count on Dunston.
Greg Maddux once told me about Sean Dunston that despite all of his injuries, and especially those to his back, he said this guy plays as hard as anyone he ever played with when the game was on the line. Talking about when he goes between the lines, he gives you everything he's got.
The count 0-2 on Dunston. 2 men out, bases empty, bottom half of the 7th inning. Maddux working on another masterpiece. Towards short. Belliard puts it away. Another 1-2-3 inning for Greg Maddux. We go to the 8th inning. Still 7-0 Atlanta. As we go to the 8th inning, Cubs have made a couple of changes. A new shortstop, Jose Hernandez. He'll bat in the number 8 spot on the order. And the new pitcher who will bat 6th, right-hander Mike Perez, his 53rd game. Has a record of 1-5, ERA 3.17. The league hitting .257 against the former Cardinal. Anthony Young had 2 perfect innings, no walks or strikeouts.
Pretty good ERA despite his record too, especially pitching in this ballpark.
David Justice, a run-scoring single in the third when the Braves broke this one open with 5 runs. He's also grounded out and struck out. 1 ball, no strikes. Takes a strike. It's 1-1.
This is the type pitcher that fans would probably say, well, why don't the Cubs have a lot of sinker ball pitchers? The way the ball flies out of Wrigley Field, maybe Perez backs up that argument.
Breaking ball misses inside. 2-1.
While Kevin Foster's allowed 26 homers, Frank Castillo 16, Traxel 17, Navarro 14, the starters.
That evens the count on Justice.
Turk Wendell gave up a homer today. That's the 9th he has allowed in 45 innings. Mike Perez only allowed 5 home runs in his 54 innings.
Here's the 2-2. Bouncing ball to Grace. Perez covers, 1 down. And now Mike Devereaux, who came on to pinch run when Ryan Klesko had to leave the game because of back spasms after singling in a run in the 3rd inning. And Devereaux, in his first Atlanta at bat in the 5th, lined a single to left.
He's going to be a valuable addition to this ball club, Pete. He can do a lot of things to help you win ball games, not just with the bat, but a good base runner, good outfielder, throws well.
That's a very good pickup for Atlanta. 0-1 the count.
And can play all 3 outfield spots.
On a play off to the right, the count 0-2. You know, you never know what's going to be the selling point on a player. Bobby Cox, talking about the acquisition of Mike Devereaux, mentioned that John Schuerholz had given him 5 or 6 or 7 different players' names who he might be able to get. And Bobby said, you know, one of the things when I saw Devereaux's name, I remember all those games the Braves played against the Dodgers and Orioles in spring training, and it seemed like he was always hitting line drives somewhere against our pitchers. So even games in spring training can influence a decision on a trade.
Well, this guy's been around a while. He's 32 years old. He grew up in the Dodger organization. They really didn't have room for him there, and that's why he got a chance to play over in Baltimore.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball misses outside, 2-2. Second largest crowd of the season today at Wrigley Field, 39,775, a sellout. In the air to center. McRae battling the sun all the way, but makes the catch. 2 down. And that'll bring up Charlie O'Brien. Charlie is 0 for 3. One ball, no strikes.
0 for 3 and 2 at-bats came in 1 inning. Good for the Braves, not so good for Charlie that inning.
1 ball, 1 strike. 7 runs, 8 hits for Atlanta. No runs, 2 hits for the Cubs. We're in the 8th. Braves after their 6th consecutive win. Remember, the road trip began with back-to-back losses in St. Louis. But the Braves have certainly turned around the trip, winning the final game in St. Louis, then sweeping the Astros, and on their way to a 2nd straight win over the Cubs. Outside corner, 2-2.
And I think the Astrodome is another place where they got their offense going a little bit again. That seems to be a good place for them to start their offensive attack. Everybody likes hitting there, and they're scoring runs a little better now and getting a lot more hits in each game.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Missed inside, the count full now, 3-2. On the ground, off the glove of Zeal, and Hernandez couldn't come up with it. It'll be a base hit for Charlie O'Brien. Just out of the reach of Zeal, he was able to get a glove on it, but couldn't flag it down.
Charlie was due a break after making a couple of outs in the 3rd inning. Probably had guys in the dugout calling him rally killer all for the rest of the ball game. He gets a little 2-out knock here.
Now Belliard is 0 for 3 and made a rare error in this game. His first of the year. He takes a strike in the outside corner, 0-1. play. 0-2 on Belliard. Two men out. O'Brien not being held at first. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Knocked down by Grace. Perez late breaking from the mound, and he won't get there in time. Mike Perez broke late. And by the time Grace was ready to toss the ball to first, Rafael Belliard was already crossing the bag.
You saw Mike Perez pat his chest as he's looking at Mark Grace, admitting that he was the one that made the mistake. And I think what happens here, Pete, is that you get lulled to sleep sometimes by the fielding prowess of a Mark Grace. You just expect him to catch and take care of everything, and maybe the pitcher Mike Perez felt like there wasn't any need to get over there.
They score that a base hit. So runners are at first and second for Greg Maddux. Fouling back the first one 0-1. He got the 5-run third started with a single. Since then he has struck out and popped out. That is a final now in Cleveland. The Indians have defeated the Tigers 6-2. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Indians, the only team in baseball with a better record than Atlanta. That was their 75th win. The Braves going for their 71st win here today.
And I think might be playing their best baseball of the year. All around.
Here's the 2-1. Goes to 3-1 now in Maddux. There are your runners, Belliard and O'Brien. And the count full now, 3-2 on Greg.
He's got a 7-0 lead. He was jumping on that 3-1 pitch. You can count on him trying to hack away at this full count here too.
Here's the 3-2, and it's driven foul off to the right. Runners take off again on the 3-2. Again foul back.
Something about this series yesterday, John Smoltz pitches a good ball game, and then you know you've got Maddux to face the next day, and you come to the park maybe on Sunday thinking, well, we got rid of Maddux and Smoltz is down, now let's go to work, and then you look up and there's Tom Glavine out there going at you.
That's it for Maddux. First strikeout for Perez. The Braves strand a couple. They go to the bottom half of the 8th inning. It is still 7-0. We go to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Greg Maddux working on another 2-hit shutout. He's got the lower third of the order to deal with here in the 8th. Todd Zeile, then Jose Hernandez, then Joe Kamak. Zeile is grounded out to first and fly to center. Maddux has retired the last 16 in a row.
One of the things we noticed right after he got his 5-run lead in the 3rd inning was that he immediately started pitching a little more to the center of the plate, challenging the Cubs hitters to go ahead and hack away, and he got a lot of easy outs as a result.
Into right center field. That one's going to fall in. Justice over to cut it off and hold Zeile to a single. So after a string of 16 consecutive outs, Todd Zeile finally picks up the 3rd hit off of Greg Maddux. That'll bring up Jose Hernandez batting for the first time. He's hitting .238. He has 8 homers and only 164 at bats this year and 23 RBIs.
And remember, their only other base runner since the 1st inning was Service, who was aboard on the error.
That error by Belliard, the first error he has made since July 2nd of 1994, and only the 3rd error he has made in 3 years.
Jose Offerman, are you listening?
What's he up to now? 30?
30.
Here's the 0-1. Outside corner, 0-2.
Thank you for that update.
Fouled it off, still 0-2. As tough as it is to hit against Greg Maddux because of his precise control, imagine what it must be like standing in that batter's box with a count 0-2.
That's one you just have to try to crowd the plate a little bit and hope for the best. Hope that you've got some plate coverage and don't give up on anything that seems to be moving away from you.
Down the left field line and deep, going back toward the wall is Devereaux. It's gone. An 0-2 home run hit by Jose Hernandez to get the Cubs on the board. And it's 7-2 Atlanta.
I don't know if Hernandez was listening or not, but watch what he does. He's on top of the plate and he just gets the hands through and fights this ball off, but he's very, very strong. Were it not for Dunstan's great year, he'd be getting a lot more at bats. Ninth homer for him.
And now the catcher Joe Kamak fouls the first one back. He grounded out as a pinch hitter in the 5th inning, stayed in the game. Only the 8th home run allowed in 167 2/3 innings by Greg Maddux this year. Line drive, right center field. That's in for a base hit.
That pitch was up a little bit, and Kamak took it to the opposite field. Watch Hernandez pull his hands in on this home run ball. Ball's cutting into him. And look at that position right there. His hands are almost in by his belt buckle to get the head of the bat through. That shows you how strong he is, having to do that just to get the head of the bat in the right position and launch one.
Braves bullpen is going to start up for the first time. Right-hander Brad Klontz and left-hander Pedro Borbon will both begin to loosen. Here's Brian McRae. McRae 0 for 3. He's grounded out to second, fly to left, and fouled out to the catcher. In the left field, that's going to fall for a base hit. Devereaux over quickly. Stopping at second is Kamak, and 4 consecutive hits off Greg Maddux, who has suddenly lost it here in the 8th inning.
That looked like a pretty good pitch, and McRae just with a good piece of hitting the pitch the way it was moving away from him. You see the target set up outside. Brian reached out and hit it the opposite way. Good job by the leadoff hitter for the Cubs.
Greg Maddux very honest out there on the mound. When his pitching coach or manager comes out, he really will not hesitate to let them know if he feels like he's lost it. And that buys some more time for the Braves bullpen. Klontz and Borbon continue. The batter is Ray Sanchez. 6 hits now for the Cubs, 4 in a row here in the bottom of the 8th. Sanchez 0 for 3 has grounded out 3 times, once to short, twice to second.
And I'm sure Greg feels confident here because Sanchez with the bad wrist, he has not gotten the ball out of the infield today. All ground ball outs.
Out of play, 0-1.
But this inning for Greg, his pitches have been up just a little bit. And I'm not even talking about the home run. I'm talking about the pitch to Zeal and Kamak specifically. He just keeps it down to Sanchez. He can get out of the inning.
Here's the 0-1. Missing low, 1 ball, 1 strike. And Maddux himself will tell you that when his control is off just a little, his pitches are hittable.
Well, it's a very fine line. He's not able to overpower anybody, Pete. He's got to hit those spots, and he admits that.
On the ground towards second. They'll get the out at second, but no chance to turn double play. So Lemke to Belliard to force McRae. Sanchez, the runner at first, moving over to third. Kamak.
I don't think they were going to have any chance at all to turn 2, even with a good throw to second. Belliard just made sure they got the force out and still keep the double play in order.
Mark Grace 1 for 3, a single, a ground out to short, and a comeback to Maddox. First and third, 1 out. Left-hander Larry Cassian getting up now in the Cubs bullpen. One ball, no strikes on Mark Grace.
I like this battle, though, between these two guys, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, they're very good friends, of course, former teammates. Grace had the base hit in the first inning, but since then, Greg has owned him, including getting a comebacker in the 6th inning. Made some tough pitches on him.
1 ball, 1 strike on Mark Grace.
Terrific change up there. Comes another one.
Right to the third baseman, Chipper Jones, across to first for the double play. Another hard hit ball, but it winds up getting Maddox out of the inning. The only damage done, the 2-run homer by Jose Hernandez. We go to the 9th inning. It's 7-2 Atlanta. Greg Maddux trying to cool off before heading out to pitch the 9th inning. In the top of the 9th, the Braves will have the top of the order up. Marquise Grissom has walked a couple of times, grounded out the other 2 times. 1 ball, no strikes.
Good exchange between Maddox and Mark Grace after that line drive out to end the inning. Double play.
1-1.
Crisscrossed there by the first base line. Looked like Grace was looking for that changeup and hit it hard, but right at Chipper Jones.
Out of play in the count 1-2 on Grissom. Tom Glavine against Jim Bullinger tomorrow. Another great matchup. Glavine seeking his 13th win. Bullinger looking for number 11. Looped out into shallow center field and caught by Sanchez. Boy, Bobby Cox talking about Ray Sanchez on the way into Chicago, talking about how much he admires this guy for his range. He really covers a lot of territory out there at second base. Did the same when he played at shortstop in place of Dunston last year.
Yeah, he can turn it at second base, and watch, he's looking right up into the sun, can't get his shades down, and he has to duck out of the way and stick his glove in the spot that he hopes it comes down, and made the play. Sometimes you got to be a little lucky too.
Mark Lemke 2 out of 4, a triple, a single. He's driven in a couple. Sharply hit. Nice play by Hernandez. Long throw across. Pulls Grace off the bag. Lemke picks up his 3rd hit.
Boy, does he have a strong arm, though, from shallow left field. Unfortunately, it wasn't very accurate. He tried to hurry it a little bit, but a good play nonetheless.
That's the 11th hit of the day for Atlanta. And now with all the left-handers coming up, we're going to get a pitching change. Mike Perez is going to be lifted after working an inning and a third. He's given up 3 hits. No runs to this point. Lemke belongs to him. He recorded 1 strikeout. Larry Cassian gets the call from the Cubs bullpen, and we'll be right back.
Sir.
The lens cap has to be removed.
It hasn't worked all day, and I can't figure out why.
Now we have time call as it's cap day here at Wrigley Field, and some of the bleacherites, out of frustration, I guess, have strewn the field with caps.
Right field's covered with them, and they're still falling.
Well, remember what happened to the Los Angeles Dodgers when their fans on ball day kept throwing baseballs, giveaway baseballs down onto the field. They wound up forfeiting the game. There we go. Now we're going to get some pictures.
Whoa, look at what I can see now. Woo. Well, no, I can't see anything with these glasses on either. Maybe that was the problem.
Well, hopefully this is going to be a brief delay. It's going to take some time, though, to get all those caps off the warning track out in right center field. There must be 100 of them out there. Here comes the ground crew now to help with the cleanup.
Jim Riggleman very upset as he was making his way out there to do it himself if he had to. He couldn't figure out why one of the guys that handles foul balls down the line was having to do it all.
So the ground crew will take care of this situation, hopefully, and hopefully that's the end of it. Well, now there's all sorts of debris coming down from the bleachers, and that's a shame.
It is, and most of the Cub faithful booing the antics of the folks out there in the bleachers.
We have a situation here which could become very similar to that at Dodger Stadium.
Ed Montague making his way over to the Cub dugout, now going into the dugout.
This might be what Montague might be doing. He might be trying to contact the press box, have the public address announcer make an announcement that unless this ends, this game will end. There's the warning. The warning has been given by the public address announcer here.
And I would assume that ushers and security that are out in the bleachers are doing everything they can to try to stem this.
And at this stage of the game, my guess would be if it happens once more, we might see a repeat of what happened in that Cardinal-Dodger game at Dodger Stadium on Ball Day.
Yeah, and that appeal was just upheld. I mean, the ruling was just upheld yesterday.
Well, we're set to resume. Mark Lemke will be the runner at first with one out. The new pitcher is Larry Cassian, making his 24th appearance. Chipper Jones, who hit a 2-run homer in the 5th inning. Here's the batter. 1 ball, no strikes. Here's the 1-0. Throwing inside 2-0.
Opposite field home run by Chipper, a pretty good idea. No wind aided home run for him to the opposite field today. Great power to all fields.
Out toward second. Sanchez will flip to his shortstop. Hernandez on to first. The one hopper not in time.
Boy, you talk about a tough hop that was picked up by Grace. That was incredible. Hernandez threw one high and wide on the bouncer hit by Lemke, and now watch this throw in the dirt. That's the toughest one for a first baseman to handle, the one that bounces well out in front of him because you're not quite sure how high it's going to come up, and it's got something on it. But boy, can he pick it over there at first.
2 gone. A runner at first for Fred McGriff. He had a run scoring single in the 3rd. That's when the Braves broke this one open with 5 runs, all coming after 2 are out.
This pitching change will allow Greg Maddux to catch his breath a little bit too before he goes out to finish this one.
There's your runner at first, Chipper Jones. 7-2 Atlanta. We're in the 9th inning. Here's the 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Braves, of course, on this road trip playing Houston and Chicago, who have designs on a wild card berth. And Braves come home to play Houston and Chicago and then St. Louis, making it awful hard on the Astros and Cubs anyway to make any headway in that race.
Yeah, the Cubs were looking at these 10 days that they've got the Braves 7 times as a real make or break part of their schedule. They said they had to get through that stretch in good shape or else they could probably kiss their wild card dreams goodbye. And it has not gotten off to a good start for them, losing yesterday and down by a 7-2 count today. That's the end of the top half of the 9th inning as McGriff goes down and strikes. We go to the bottom half of the 9th inning. Greg Maddux needs 3 more outs to tie a major league record for consecutive road victories. (7-2) Atlanta as we go to the bottom half of the 9th inning. Sammy Sosa leads it off, a single in 3 trips against Maddux. And he grounds the first one foul on the left field line. 0-1.
Maddux already leads the major leagues with 7 complete games. This would be number 8.
Here comes the 0-1. It's low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Talking about this stretch of schedule for the Cubs are doing what you see a lot of 500 type ball clubs do. They're beating up on the bad teams in the National League and having all sorts of problems with the good ones. They're 3-7 against the Reds. They're heading toward 1-6 now against Atlanta, but they've beaten teams like Florida and like Pittsburgh, St. Louis.
I like their lineup. They're going to score some runs. Their batting average 7th in the league, but 4th in the league in runs scored.
2-2 the count now on Sosa.
They're just going to have to get some solid performances from their starting pitching, take some pressure off their bullpen, and hope that they can stay close in some ball games where they can get Randy Myers in there.
2-2 the count on Sosa. Oh, great pitch. Great pitch. 4th strikeout for Maddux.
Here's kind of what he was talking about as you watch this pitch. It's not a strike changeup that he might have to throw in the dirt because he knows Sosa might chase it, but he has to throw in the dirt because if it's not in the dirt, he might hit it. This guy is such a wild, free swinger. He's done a good job on Sosa today.
1 out. Here's Gonzalez. He has grounded out 3 times. This one hit to left. Look where Devereaux had him played, right near the line. He's got it. Devereaux had him played perfectly. And that's out number 2. Gonzalez still staring out there as if he couldn't believe where Devereaux was.
And Jimmy, look at the smile on Jimmy Williams. That's right. Devereaux, as he's going after this ball, saying to himself, boy, they knew what they were talking about when they had me over here.
2 gone. And now Howard Johnson will pinch hit for Cassian.
If you hit a ball that hard off Greg Maddux, you ought to get a hit. That's what Luis Gonzalez was thinking.
Howard Johnson having a tough time of it this year. Just a 130 batting average. He's 4-21 as a pinch hitter. 2 outs in the 9th. 1 ball, no strikes. Outside corner, 1-1. This will be the 99th pitch of the day for Maddux.
What did he throw at Houston? 88?
88 at St. Louis.
Excuse me, at St. Louis, that's right.
Here's the 1-1. 2 balls, 1 strike to Hojo. Braves getting RBIs today. 2 from Lemke, 2 from Chipper Jones, 1 each from McGriff, Justice, and Klesko. 2-1 pitch, little looper into shallow left center field. It's going to fall. Base hit for Howard Johnson. So the Cubs still alive barely with a runner at first and 2 outs. And Todd Zeile will be the batter. Zeile 1 for 3. He's singled ahead of the Hernandez home run back in the 8th inning.
Bobby Cox not shy about bringing Mark Wohlers in a ball game yesterday in a non-save situation, and he's got him ready if needed here in the 9th today with a 7-2 lead.
They will not hold Howard Johnson at first. And he will run. A strike taken by Zeile. Fielder's choice. No stolen base since they were paying no attention to the runner. 0-1 on Zeile. Here's the 0-1 delivery. And it's 0-2 now on Todd Zeile.
Boy, Charlie O'Brien's had a tough day back there behind the plate. He's been nailed by foul tips from the first inning on. Ray Sanchez got him on the shoulder in the first inning, and now here in the 9th he gets nailed.
No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. The 0-2 just missed outside.
And did you notice that? Charlie's not messing around with any series of signs here. They got a 5-run lead. Runner at second base, yes, but they're trying to make it simple. Let's just try to get this over with. Well, now they go to a series. They didn't on the pitch before.
Here's the 1-2. Out of play. Still 1-2 on Zeal.
Zeal's base hit last time up on a ball away from him and had trouble. He was tied up on a pitch up and in on him to start this at bat. They might try to get him out inside.
In the air to center. Marquis Grissom coming on. He's got it. And Greg Maddux has tied a major league record with his 16th consecutive road victory. He ups his record to 14-2 in his ERA. We thank those fans for keeping us up to date on that. They must have had their calculators with them all afternoon. But Greg Maddux, a superb job. He has beaten his former teammates for the 3rd time in his career. He's never lost to them. And he now joins 3 other pitchers, all American leaguers, who had a string of 16 consecutive road victories. Cal McLish did it back in 1958 and 59 for the Cleveland Indians. Denny McLain, in his 30 victory season in 1968 with Detroit, won 16 straight road games. And Richard Dotson with the 83 and 84 Chicago White Sox had a string of 16 consecutive road victories. They're now joined by Greg Maddux. And with that win, the Braves up their lead over the Phillies to 14. The magic number is reduced to 20. That's a pretty low magic number for being only August 26th.
I don't know that I've ever heard of such, Pete. And Phillies, of course, play tonight. If they lose, it reduces it by another game. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens as we head into September. The wild card race, which certainly affects the Chicago Cubs, is reflected this way as they drop under 500 with the loss today. They're now 3 games back with Colorado on top. I think maybe more than anything for teams like Philadelphia, Chicago, and even San Diego is what the Braves did to Houston, going in there and knocking them off 3 straight ball games and kind of knocked them off the perch, because at one time Houston had like a 4 or 5 game lead in the wild card race, and now all of a sudden everybody has joined the pack, and it's going to be a dogfight, I think, to the very end.
Our AutoZone player of the game, you might have guessed it, Greg Maddux, his 14th win, and how's this for a pitch count? 105 pitches, 80 strikes. We'll be back to wrap it up right after this.
The average commercial break can last up to 4 minutes. Just thought you'd like to know. Ice cold milk. Help yourself.
When I'm at the ballpark, there's just one thing on my mind. Hologram baseball cards are back at Denny's. You get an Upper Deck card free with any purchase from Denny's Classic Hits menu. So collect all 28. They're more exciting than the game. Well, almost.
Every day, we all find a way. A promise made, a promise kept, giving it our best.
America's most complete source of auto parts, a national warranty program, and customer service only Napa can give. No wonder more people trust Napa to keep their vehicles running.
We keep America running. We keep America running.
There aren't many things that can stop a 4x4. There are even fewer things that can stop a Stihl. No wonder it's the #1 selling brand of chainsaw worldwide. Available in Stihl territory.
Atlanta Braves baseball, brought to you by Beechwood Aged Budweiser. For a taste you'll find in no other beer at any price. This Bud's for you. And by Aflac, covering the unexpected cost of getting well. Aflac, insuring over 38 million people worldwide.
There you go. Well, the Braves continue their good play. They've now won 6 in a row, and they are 6-1 on the year against the Chicago Cubs with their win today. 7 runs, 11 hits, 1 error, 6 men left on base for the Braves. For the Cubs, they left 5. Maddox tied for the major league lead in wins with 14. He leads the major leagues in complete games with 8. And the loser, Steve Traxel, 5-10 on the year. And Traxel now, on his career here at home in Wrigley Field, 2-14. His last 17 road starts, Maddox 16-0, an ERA of 1.02. And of those starts, of those 17 starts, 11 complete games, 39,775 here at Wrigley Field in a game that took 2 hours and 26 minutes.
Game 3 in this series tomorrow afternoon from Wrigley Field. It'll be Tom Glavine with a 12-5 record going against Jim Bullinger, who is 10-4 on the year. We'll have it for you beginning at 2:15 Eastern Time here on TBS. Don't forget, later tonight on TBS, Sylvester Stallone stars in Nighthawks at 8:05 Eastern Time. Until tomorrow, for Joe Simpson, Don Sutton, Skip Carey, our entire TBS crew, Pete Van Weren from Wrigley Field, where Greg Maddux tied a major league record, 16 consecutive road wins. Final score, Braves 7, Cubs 2. So long, everyone.
Leading sports television into the 21st century, this has been an exclusive presentation of Turner Sports. One big bang.